Synopsis. The guys are each reading their respective magazines when Carlos decides to bring up that it's been 6 months since they arrived in LA, and they still haven't met any celebrities. It's almost like this episode is going to focus around... Oh, would you look at that? Jordin Sparks checks into the Palmwoods, and she says every time she's here she throws a coin in the fountain and she writes a hit song. So it's almost tradition at this point. The guys show up and welcome her to the Palmwoods, and find out she's actually recording at Rock Records with Gustavo. She records her new song, and while the guys love it, she's not sure about it. Gustavo tells the guys to go to his office, where... Freight train! Gustavo tells them to stay away from Jordin, because he doesn't want them to drive her away by being bad luck. The guys discuss how ridiculous it is that they're bad luck, but then James breaks a mirror and, Kendall goes to have a date with Joe, by the pool, but due to some expert timing...
Kendall?
Joe! This isn't what it looks like.
Smooth. Carlos and Logan come to the conclusion that it's not them, it's the hotel, and makes it their mission to protect her as... not quite as great as Bandana Man, but still okay. Meanwhile, at the office, Gustavo receives a skunk as a present. We learn it's Gustavo's worst enemy, Hawk. Why is it just now we're hearing about him? They banter at each other like little children, and now Gustavo has to get rid of the skunk before Jordin gets back. Kendall makes the right call.
I want no part of this.
And Logan and Carlos save Jordin from a black cat. And Carlos, this is twice now. It lands on Jordin, and Kendall has to help her, leading to round 2 of Joe getting the worst idea. Meanwhile, James is searching for a 4-leaf clover, while forcing Frankie to dress up as a leprechaun. That's not a good look, man. Transitioning back to the studio, though, we learn apparently Gustavo and Kelly are idiots that can't figure out a simple glue trap. I mean, it serves them right, considering those are worse than kill traps, but... Hawk calls back and tries to get Jordin to sing her song at his recording studio, but aren't the vocals already done? What would that accomplish? Jordin drops a coin down the wishing well, while Kendall is setting up horseshoes for his date with Joe. James tries to take it, turning it upside down. And seeing the bad luck charm, Logan and Carlos try to take it, resulting in... Oh, they just killed that woman. Nah, she's fine, but they gotta get her out. So they send down Kendall. But due to James's fascination with his own luck, he's put in a pretty compromising position when Joe shows up.
It's not what it looks like!
What does this even look like? At Rock Records, they decide to go full Looney Tunes and lure the skunk away with Freight Train using a skunk puppet.
A girl skunk puppet.
Actually, Gustavo's gonna make Kelly do it since Freight Train's girl voice is terrible. The plan goes about as well as you'd expect, so let's just check in on Kendall and Jordin. As they wait for... What was the plan here? Carlos and James have to come up with a plan on their own, and after a plan that would either burn them alive or bury them alive, they actually get the idea to fill the well with water so that they float to the top. I mean, this will either work or drown them, so, I mean, it's a 50-50 chance I say take it. Of course, they go through with it. It just ends up getting James stuck in the well too. So it's all up to, why am I not surprised? They all sit down in defeat and decide to try and figure out Jordin's song together. They all sing it together and she figures it out. Kendall decides to call Freight Train to get them out, and Mr. Bitters gets a perfect photo op. But like the best character that he is, Freight Train destroys the camera, saving Jordin from humiliation. Back at the studio, the guys are able to get rid of the skunk with ease, letting them off the hook with Gustavo. Jordin lets them know that she wants the song to be a duet. Gustavo took credit for the idea, and they hit the studio. They finish the song and decide to trick Hawk into getting into a limo with a skunk. Kelly talks to Gustavo all about what the boys have done for him, and that maybe they're not actually bad luck, but good luck. He agrees, but says never to tell them that, which is probably the most Gustavo thing he's ever said. Jordin says goodbye, and even offers them the opportunity to open for her on a future tour. Only if their album does well, though. She wishes Kendall luck with Joe, and... Unbelievable. Thoughts. Okay, where do I begin? This episode wasn't bad, but it's far from great. First of all, this episode had the feeling as if everyone's brains were just turned off. In the past, they could at least function. Now Gustavo and Kelly can't figure out simple glue traps, and Carlos jumps into a well just because he's lonely. This is a far cry from the characters who could outsmart their teachers and could escape police custody just to get a photo done. Other than that, though, the song is great. We had our first celebrity guest of the series, and we get some jokes that, while not quite on the same level, do have a similar energy to some of my favorites in the series. I think overall it's an enjoyable episode, but the flaws stand out for miles, and it's not going to convince anyone new to give the show a shot. Gold record. Trivia. This was actually the first episode to be marked as a special by Nickelodeon. I find that interesting since it's not even the length of the pilot, it's just the length of a regular episode. They probably just had to spend a lot of money to get Jordin Sparks on board, and they wanted to make sure they could make as much of that money back as possible, so marketing it as a special made sense. This is also the only episode of the series that Katie doesn't appear in, which makes this whole thing even weirder. As if it was a true special, wouldn't you think they'd want to have the entire cast involved? Well, I did have to do some digging to find this trivia myself. I should credit my sources. I got most of this information from the Big Time Rush fan wiki, specifically the blog Big Time Sparks. If you want to fact check me, feel free to do so in the comments below, and if it's a big enough slip up on my part, I'll try and have your comment penned, assuming I haven't already done that to someone else.
Well, that was an interesting episode. Sorry, I'm feeling a little under the weather and didn't feel like going out to the recording studio for, a simple video, but it's alright, I don't have a fever or anything.
When the window blew out, I fell, cut myself. As the blood spilled, I was helpless, nearly killed. Your actions, they did curse me, and yet your lies still hurt me. One heart for whole beings.